Coming up today on JBYC, why can't I fart in public?
Please show to Jim. Ha, ha, ha.
Literally all I could think about was Butterbean, the famous boxer from the 90s, and that doesn't feel like a good nickname.
All that and more on today's episode of JBYC.
Jaunty beans you crave.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
Went right there.
I bet I can name those farts.
You can name them.
Hey everybody, it's
Like-
Monday, September 2nd, 2019. I'm Bobby
Like
Frankenberger,
Jim.
and you're listening to episode
Fred.
21 of JBYC. This is the show where three people talk about who've been friends longer than who care to know about what's mine past week. Every week we have a topic or theme. I'm just going with it. And this week's theme is beans. Let me introduce my
Dyslexia.
fellow co-host. First up, we're going to change it up a little bit. It's EJ. What's up, EJ?
I'm so excited. I'm going first for the first time ever. Hello, everybody. I'm doing great. You see how much more energy and passion I have whenever I go first?
Yeah, I might have to do that more often. And next is Ryan. What's up, Ryan?
Hey, so those bean farts were probably from either City Slickers or Raging Saddles.
Believe it or not,
Blazing Saddles. Raging Saddles was the X-rated version of Blazing
Believe it or
Saddles.
not, you just found random farts. I don't believe you.
No. I found a YouTube video where it was like playing back like the 20 fart noises that have been used in TV and movies since like the 40s or something.
Okay. So what was my
The
guess?
Wilhelm
Was it,
scream of
did I get it
farts.
right or not?
Probably because they're the ones. It was funny. The description of the video was like these farts should also like the 20 most familiar sounding farts or something weird. Like you've definitely heard these farts before, or it was like the presumption was you definitely already are thinking that you've heard them before, because the description was more like listen to this video or read this description to find out why these farts sound so familiar or something like that.
That's a weird. I mean, okay.
It's like you hear a fart and you're like, hey, did we go to high school with each other?
I know that smell. He's somewhere in this room.
So familiar.
Yeah,
The bouquet.
So
The acidity.
it was quite funny to think about. So real quick, right off the top of the show, I'm going to remind everybody. I don't know why I'm reminding you. I think 3 weeks from now is when the first episode will
Because
come
you're
out. But
excited.
But mostly, I want to remind everybody that we're not going to have a show next week. A week from today, we're going to be taking that show off, and possibly the one after that. Is that right, EJ? I think there's something else
My
going
parents
on.
are going to be in town late September, the last
Okay.
week of September, basically.
Mm.
So that'll be the 3 weeks from now.
Okay, well, we will keep everyone informed, but next week, because that'll be the first recording night for that America's Next Top Podcaster show that I'm going to be on. So I want to have another show as soon as possible because I want to tell everybody about it, but like as much as I can, because it's
Mysteries.
secret. You'll have to
Mysteries.
find out what happens. Listen to the show.
Hey,
But-
EJ,
I feel like I'm
are your
watching
parents
sci-fi in the 90s.
are your parents ready to go overseas like that? Have they done like a
I
big
don't
trip
know.
like that before?
No. I'm so
Is
worried.
it terrifying for everyone?
Your dad was in the Navy.
My
He's
dad's
gone
well,
overseas.
yeah, my dad was in the Navy. My dad was in the
Mhm.
Navy, so he might have like Dunning-Kruger about what to expect because he hasn't gone overseas for like 25 years, and he doesn't have the United States Navy to protect him in Vietnam.
He's gonna be like telling your mom all about like what to expect, but it's gonna be like 4 decades outdated.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then my mom, oh my gosh, my mom's gonna be like a babe in the woods. But I think they'll have fun. We're gonna have fun. We'll protect
That's
them.
good.
Is there
I'd be terrified.
so you're in Vietnam right now, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Good place I've
don't.
always been.
Okay. You've
you're
bounced
saying I'm
back
not
and
trapped,
forth.
right?
You've for over the history of our lives, you've bounced back and forth between Vietnam and South Korea. So that's a fair question.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I haven't bounced to South Korea in a long time though. It's
yeah,
been like 5 years, 4 or 5 years. So.
is there like a water park you can take him to?
There is. Yeah, there is. It's a little terrifying. I think it was built like during the Cold War, but
Hopefully,
go there.
the water's warmed up.
I-
Dude. Your pop's gonna make the same joke if you go there.
that was pretty good. Now my dad jokes are always more offensive. So
I thought I wasn't going to
really
be able to
worried.
do a show this week because the ragweed has come into full force here where I'm living, and I fear I'm going to lose my voice any day now. So
well, I always have my allergy day is always right when we're recording, so we could have been good company.
yeah, that's right. You have your weekly allergy cycle.
It's so strange. It really is strange. The only thing I can think of is that I wake up earlier to do this, so maybe that's why. But it
Did
is
you guys
pretty rough.
ever actually like get tested for your allergies, or you just know?
Yeah, I'm
when the
allergic to
seasons
grass.
change, I get hit.
I've
like,
never been
you
tested. I
know?
should. I'm
Yeah.
getting my insurance will kick in any day now, and then I can go get a full body scan like I've been wanting to do for a while. And I know people say not to do a full body scan, but I'm going to do it anyway because I feel like something's wrong, and no doctor has ever figured it out.
Why do people
Not with
say
my
don't?
allergies. I don't know. I saw it
feel
on an
like-
episode of Scrubs. They said
Oh,
you
that's-
shouldn't do it. There was an episode of Scrubs where someone wanted to get a full body scan.
I get all of my medical advice from Scrubs for sure.
Dr. Phil, nah, this old show that's been off the air for many years. That's
Yeah.
where I get my
Dr.
medical
Cox said that
advice.
it's like it's going to do more harm than good because it'll make you worry about a bunch of stuff that doesn't matter. But
Yeah,
I don't know. I
There's
think
a-
there's something like in my hormone system that's off whack or something in my blood. Maybe. I don't know.
something off in your blood.
I might just be a hypochondriac, but
Well, that's true.
I just
That'll
want to find
help.
out. At least if I find out I am a hypochondriac, that would be like knowledge that I can use. And knowledge is power.
Yeah, you can fill
Knowing
that
is
out.
half the battle.
Would you fill that if you find out you're a hypochondriac? Do you fill that out on like the form when you go to a doctor? Like, what
Yeah.
conditions do you have? I have
Yeah.
high blood pressure. I'm a hypochondriac. Don't believe anything
Well,
I
so-
say.
I kind of got gaslighted by medicine for years because I have a thyroid condition and like I'm not going to bore people too much, but let's just put it this way. Most doctors don't know anything about the thyroid, and even most endocrinologists don't know much about the thyroid because they specialize in diabetes. So there's like one thyroid test that they give everybody, and it's a very basic, simple test, and
Mm-hmm.
it'll identify most people because there's like two major common problems. But if you have an uncommon thyroid problem, they won't find it, and then they'll just tell you you're depressed or something. So for years, I had doctors telling me that I was depressed because I wasn't being flagged on this basic test. And then finally, I came to Vietnam, and in Vietnam they still do a symptom diagnosis for the thyroid. So they were just like, "Well, just take some thyroid medicine, and then if you feel better after a month or two, we'll assume you have some kind of thyroid problem." And so then I did that, and then after the month, I was like, "I feel a lot better." And then they gave me like more advanced tests, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you totally have this rare thyroid disease." So
Huh.
Sorry.
yeah, it was a struggle.
So
Sorry for you feeling like shit for years when it
Yeah.
could have been easily remedied, but
So if you're putting hypochondriac down in your negatives, what buff are you gonna pick up? Like you get like a point
Oh.
or two out of that?
I get an edge for my flaw.
I assume so.
I don't know. I'd like to get. I guess I'll get LASIK.
There you
again,
go. Okay.
get my
Yeah.
astigmatism fixed up.
Wait, you already did that though. Can you do it again?
You can do it again. I found out, and it's only like $300 per eye. And I only really want to do one eye. This eye is the one that's bothering me. Gives me headaches all the time, migraines.
Pluck it out.
Fuck this eye.
Get it out of there. It doesn't belong. If it's going to cause you problems, that's how they do it in the mob. If you're causing problems,
Oh yeah.
you're out of here.
Well, I mean, yeah. If they do end up having to, if they f things up entirely, then we can be blind in our right eye buddies, Bob.
Yeah. Join the club.
You can show me the ropes.
Yeah. You'll need it because the ropes sometimes get really close to you and you can't tell how far away it
You
is.
can't tell.
Speaking of full body scans, I'm going on a plane this week to Ohio.
Oh, they will full body scan you.
Yeah,
that was
fascists
actually
will-
okay. Well done. I was like, where's he gonna
Security
go with this?
I've got to go to a funeral up in Cincinnati, and but I always get scanned. They say it's random, but I always get. I'm not exaggerating. I always have to go through the full body scan.
I mean, you are.
Oh yeah, me
shifty.
too. In America, I do. I didn't know
Yeah.
it was random in the U.S. because I always have to go through it.
Well, some people go through and some people don't when I'm there, and
I think they just say that it's random because they want you to shut up.
someone told me one time that I'm of it's because I'm a male of military age, whatever that means, because isn't that like 18 to 40 or something? Like it's a huge
Yeah,
range.
Well,
that's not a real
honestly,
explanation.
They should be scanning like us because 100% of terrorist attacks in 2018 were white men, white supremacists in the USA. So
100%.
they should only be scanning white men.
I mean,
It's like the
maybe
whole
that's
thing.
fair.
Like if they're gonna ban guns, they should first ban them for white dudes, I think, and then
It doesn't
work
bother
their way
me.
out. And
It's-
cops,
It's not. It doesn't take a long time, but it's
but they do have a picture of her wee wee.
Yep,
They do get it.
I'm all right.
They say no one looks at it. I don't trust that.
Somebody's got to look at it.
I mean, not really.
No, they say that the software now will like not let you look at the wee.
What?
not
the
make you
boobies.
have to look
How
at the Wii.
how
It's
much
not
of a
let you
damn
join us.
prudish country society do we live in, where
Where are you
they've got to
going?
like write special software for the thing that's supposed to like quote unquote it's allegedly supposed to keep us safe. They got to write special software into the programming to blur out our wiener. Like, come on.
Your outrage is going in the wrong direction.
Yeah, you're
Bob.
what?
You're
Also, it's a numbers game. It's just like we don't want to deal with that looking at that many weens, like tens of thousands of weens a day.
It was probably giving people like, issues.
How so?
If you have to stare at 1,000, I don't know. If you had to stare at 1,000 wieners every day,
It's like
that could have some kind of psychological impact. I think.
I don't know.
But I'm not worried about the cops, Bob. That's the point. You should be worrying about the security theater and the fascism that grips our nation.
No, for sure. To me, it's sort of like I've already
You're like,
kind of
"These poor
absorbed.
cops."
I've already kind of absorbed the idea that it's all security theater that I can't do anything about. So I'm like, okay, so what do we do next? If you're gonna be
You're finding
scanning-
something else to complain
yeah,
about.
right, right. Like maybe you could get these coders to do something more useful than to blur my penis.
This is really good. This is like how Jerry Seinfeld built his career.
Blurring.
Tries to find the
Oh yeah. Observational
find the,
comedy.
observation. Yeah, observe things that
Yeah.
other people didn't notice.
Yeah. And
But
they're
just
not
right
noticing
before
my
your
wiener.
eyes.
That's because they blurred it out.
That should be the name of your autobiography.
They didn't notice
Not noticing my
'cause they
wiener.
blurred it
Bobby
out.
Frankenberger story.
Yeah. I'm just saying. Anyway.
First
Just a little,
line. Why
just
did
a
they
little
blur it
wiener
out?
talk to warm things up before we get the show started.
Yeah, here we go.
Dang it, Bobby, that's exactly what we don't want.
So so we're talking about
Never
beans,
truer
and
words were
naturally, if
spoken
you're
here.
talking about beans, the magical fruit, then you're going to be talking about farting. So this morning, I was messaging these
Man,
guys,
we're
and
going
I
with a
said,
story too.
Are you gonna say you farted?
No,
Is that how the story's gonna end?
"Let me tell you a story."
Literally this morning I farted.
No,
Like that's everyone's morning.
I was messaging you guys this morning saying I have no idea what I'm going to talk about, and
Right.
EJ says, "What are you talking about? Beans? There's like so many things to talk about." And he said,
Yeah.
Jack and the Beanstalk. There's farting.
And then that was it. And I said, "You're an idiot" out loud to my phone.
No, come on.
But
Everyone
I
wants
went-
to talk about farts.
I got to thinking about farting like I often do, but I got to thinking about it, and it did make me think, why is it? And I'm posing this question to you guys, because I want to know what your opinions are, because I couldn't literally find an opinion anywhere on the internet. Why is it that farting and other like burping and other bodily functions why are they social faux pas? I don't understand. Everybody does it, but
Yeah.
no one's
They
allowed
smell bad.
to do it.
It's unpleasant. It's an unpleasant smell. I
But-
think that's why.
I-
It's as simple as that.
But everybody does it.
I don't think it's
Right?
that.
No,
Like,
okay, well, hold on.
it's-
It wasn't a social faux pas until like medieval times, at least. least. Because I used to study.
I
used
don't
to
think that's
study,
actually
like-
true because I found a source somewhere that said that who is it? Emperor Claudius in ancient Rome passed a law to make it legal to fart in public.
Well, okay.
Which implies
So
that it was
maybe-
was not before then.
But was this a crazy emperor? He's like, you have to fart in public.
like it was a mistranslation. It
shaming,
wasn't
Ryan.
mistranslated. It
Thou
wasn't
shalt
that
not
he made it.
king shame the emperor.
It wasn't.
Hold
that he
on,
made it-
honey. I have to go walk outside and fart before I come back into our home.
No, you have to fart in your home. It's illegal to
No,
fart
he's
in
saying the
public.
opposite.
missed the
You have to
edict.
fart in public.
So you're saying that it wasn't that he made it legal to fart in public. It was that
He
a
made it illegal
mistranslation.
to fart inside.
Yeah, he made it an obligatory to fart in public.
Mhm.
They had like a Roman secret fart police.
Right. They would open your door.
We know
and
you've been farting
open
in
the
your
door.
quarters.
They would throw up in the door
What's
and go.
that smell? Augustus, please come
They got like a
outside.
leather trench coat and like black gloves and like little spectacles and like, I do smell something.
They'd burst into your room at night
Indiana
and throw open the
Jones, yeah.
covers to see.
Where are your fart papers?
I'm picturing like the Ark of the Covenant when like he pulls it off and he melts.
They'd
but
take
they're all
that
but they're all speaking Latin. Though.
that deep sniff,
Yeah.
and then there'd be that moment of suspense as you waited.
Was this your fart?
We have a
Show me your
gas
diet.
There's a sulfur.
Yeah,
Sulfur.
there's eggs in the fridge. They're bad. I swear.
Why don't you go to the fridge, Hans, and see if there are any eggs?
families like they keep old eggs just in case.
this, this is the only way to have a funny Nazi joke anymore.
They've got like a basket of rotten eggs hiding under the floorboards, just to mask the smell. Well,
It's
you
a good
would,
time.
yeah.
Times, the Roman times.
But so everybody farts. I'm trying to recover here.
Everybody does fart.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and but for some reason we all
Step
have to
one,
act
yeah.
like we don't. So why? Why do we do that? Why
So
do
let
we
me
do that
talk
to
about this a little
ourselves?
bit. Okay. Have you ever there's situations where it is okay to fart in public and like nobody will acknowledge it? So for instance, if you're in kind of like a slightly awkward-ish situation with somebody and you're in closed quarters and then somebody farts, usually people don't bring it up. If we're all adults. Do you know what I'm saying? Like have you ever been in a situation where like say for instance, you're in a car with somebody you don't know well,
Mhm.
do you know what I'm saying? Or somebody
Yes.
you haven't seen in like years and then they
Yes.
fart.
I would go so
And
far
then
as to say
everyone just
most
pretends it didn't
people.
happen.
I would go so far as to say most people, even among people they know well, just pretend it doesn't happen. I think that we're sort of like unusual, where in that we, like
Well, everyone
joyously.
everyone laughs about farts with their friends. I think, or most people do. Don't you think? Do you think we're weird for that?
I think I'm acknowledging that we may have a bias because that's just what we always did.
But like
but
ripping
Maggie,
a
I
guess
loud
what I'd say-
one.
Well, there's the old point about the old term polite company,
Mhm.
and I think
Yes.
that's distinguished from like, the bros and the sisses and the pals and the buds and the other synonyms for that. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So like if you're with your grandma and your grandma farts, you probably won't say anything about it unless you have a
Sure.
particularly open relationship with your grandma where you laugh about farts with your grandma regularly.
Yeah.
I mean, but
I have some
no one does
like,
anything if you fart in public. There's a stigma, but like no one actually.
But
Says
it's because
anything.
no one
Okay,
wants,
here's
no
a
one
great
wants to
example. If you're at
acknowledge
work,
it. Okay.
have you ever been in the elevator with coworkers and then one of your coworkers just lands a big fart in the elevator?
Like
Everyone
audible.
just pretends it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
Everyone
okay.
pretends it
Always.
didn't happen at work.
That's like every.
I just
fart.
want to point this out though. Do you have? I don't even know if you guys really have Southern relatives, but I have like Southern relatives. They're like usually older ladies, and when if they rip one, they'll go, "Ooh, Lord," Like-
Yes.
about their own fart.
I don't have no.
Like my aunts will often do that.
My
Ooh, Lord, I'm sorry.
Stephanie's family, my wife, my in-laws, they're the
wife.
Southern family that I have, and they avoid farting around each other to the point of like pain, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's like they're always on a date.
yeah, it is. Stephanie said that Stephanie has told me before that she doesn't think she has heard her parents fart ever.
Whoa, that's like I don't know, that's like negligence. Well, okay, this is a good transition point because Cadmy said Bobby needs to get everybody farts for his kids, assuming his kids are small. You do have small kids.
Yeah.
How do you teach them about farts?
Oh, so my youngest daughter.
How do you teach them about farts versus Stephanie's parents?
We
who
are very open.
basically taught Stephanie to repress farting.
We are very open about farting in our household. In fact, so much so that my youngest, my 3-year-old Kaylee, whenever someone farts, if someone says, "Did someone fart?" Kaylee always claims it, whether it was hers or not.
What a little bro.
Maybe she just always has farted.
Well, maybe, but
Maybe you need to take her to the doctor. The fart doctor.
And Zoe says, Zoe does this thing whenever she's my older one. She's 6 years old. She, whenever she burps or farts, we taught her to say, "Excuse me." But for some reason, she has learned that you're supposed to also like explain why you're saying "excuse me." So she'll always say, "Excuse me, I farted," or "Excuse me, I burped."
Declarative. Yeah.
She wants to make it clear.
Yeah. Yeah.
She wants you to know that she's not trying to get by you. She's not trying to get past you. She's just
we
farting.
value honesty in this
happy with it.
household. Yeah.
I just want to point out, like, the chat brought up Farticus, and that we missed that in our spiel is sad to me.
That's pretty good.
With
Yeah,
real
because
good.
it's like they've got all the fart suspects lined up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And they're
exactly.
like,
yeah.
Which one of you is Farticus?
I
And they're
am
like,
farting.
I'm Farticus.
No, they
I'm
don't say it.
Farticus."
They all start farting together.
They'll just all start farting.
Oh, they fart in
But
solidarity.
not to derail again, but I do think there is a real thing here, like the evolutionary psychology, social psychology kind of stuff, where like it's just I like when other animals like cats, for instance, hide their poop and stuff like that, and if they don't, they get stressed out.
Yeah.
There's probably some
So you
kind of
think,
thing
like,
there going
predators
on.
can smell our farts.
Or maybe
That's how
I
they
don't
hunt
know.
us.
Something like that. Yeah.
So where did our ancient ancestors like safely fart? What was the protocol?
They
Like
had to
on
dig a
the-
hole in the ground, and then they
the
had to
plains.
fart into a hole
And
in the
then
ground.
cover the
In the
air
hole.
before it got out.
Yeah.
which began the millennia long conflict between humans and worms.
Yeah. That's how believe it or not, that's how the water skin was accidentally invented, where you hold water to drink from, because originally the water skin was a big leather bag that
Fart
would
bag.
be held over the surface of the water. People would go into the water to fart. It's contained in a bubble. They held it over the surface of the water, and it would come up into the bag. Somebody
go to the bag.
accidentally dunked it in there and found, oh, you can hold water in here.
It was the nuclear waste of primitive man because they didn't know what to do with all the fart bags.
And somebody would have said,
They just were piling them up in a cave.
they're burying it
Like,
under a mountain.
one day we will come up with the technology to
Oh,
And that's
man.
where
dispose
natural gas
safely of
comes
these
from
fart
today.
bags.
Yeah, yes, all of our natural gas. Oh man,
That's history and science. So you can take that to the bank.
this
Double
is-
fact.
This is where we end on a high note on this one. So here we go.
Oh, we're just okay. Where was the high note?
Kind of a share.
Don't worry. We'll definitely keep talking about farts. So if you're sad that we're veering off, then this is not the end. Okay. Have you ever seen this, gentleman? I think I showed it to you in like the after show last week or something. But are you familiar with this
Oh.
meme, man?
I talked about this guy, yeah, with you
Bill
before.
Foster.
Oh yeah.
So Bill Foster's
He's showing a picture and it's like a clip from Facebook.
Yeah. By the way, we're talking about beans. That's why we talk about farts, because beans make you fart. Bobby never really set that up. So
So I have
He
There's
said
a point
beans
again.
Yeah.
point against.
Maybe you listen to him.
Yeah.
I don't listen to him. Okay, so this is Bill Foster. Look at his eyes. He's looks like a sweet old man. And so Bill Foster went to the Bush's Beans Facebook page and just told them, I'm thinking about those beans.
Yeah.
On July 23rd at 10:13 p.m.
Mhm.
So this became a famous meme, a bean meme. And I discovered Bill Foster from a Facebook page called Please Show to Jim. Ha, ha. So this is the Facebook page. If you're not, I'm trying to narrate this for the people listening. So there's this Facebook page called Please Show to Jim.
You're
Ha,
good.
ha. So the whole idea is it's just funny examples of like old people who don't really use the internet very often or aren't familiar with how it's supposed to work, especially social media.
Right.
Kind of like just doing their thing. And I love it. I find it endearing. Okay. For the most part, there are, so we actually have this like this whole like lexicon about it. So a Jim is like a sweet old person who's just kind of stumbling on the internet. And then there's also, I think they call it a Bob. There's also like an old person who's like, like mean and not nice and like maybe racist or whatever. And then there's like, yeah. So, but we mostly try to catalog Jims here on Please Show to Jim. So
Aren't they? I feel like they would mostly be fake.
no, they're mostly real. I really think they are. I mean, like I posted something my mom put on here one time.
Okay,
So I know
fair
some
enough.
of them are real. So like here's one post from Joan and it says this is a Facebook post. It says, I'm lost old lady I am. LL no joke for real. Okay, I'm lost. It's like I'm so worried about Joan. Someone find her.
Yeah.
There's a lot of copy pasta. Here's one. This young generation is so lost. They have a drive-through menu memorized, but don't even know how to peel a potato. Just sad. I mean, there's a lot of these like Minions memes.
I hate Minions. They're the dumbest.
Yeah.
I can't move.
There's
mine.
a weird. Oh, they like. Here, somebody has found a coffee cup that is a pair of jeans in coffee cup form, and it has the name Jim like labeled onto it.
Perfect.
So
Got it. Why
Wow.
is the crotch bright green?
that's the price. The price tag. Someone got a little.
That's the
Somebody got
chroma key
handsy with the
area.
price gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can put whatever you want there. So okay, here's one. Idris Elba dethrones Blake Shelton to become this year's sexiest man alive, and Barb says, and you can see Barb's like a sweet old lady. Sorry, I have to disagree. It's really a three-way tie between my three grandsons. Ladies, they're single, but not for long. Tick, tick, tick. So
when
I
I
just
think
love
of
this.
three grandsons, I think of Jonathan Taylor Thomas and the other two.
The other two. They yeah.
that's her grandma. That's their
Accurate.
grandma.
Yeah.
Here's a Professor Jim. My professor doesn't believe in laser pointers, so he's using a fishing pole with a foam finger attached, and I can't contain myself during lecture. So that's a pretty Jim thing to do.
That's pretty good.
It's like they just hate technology.
Oh
Does
my
anyone
God.
viewing this page still eat sloppy joes? Does anyone view like this is perfect. This is obviously something they grabbed from like an old people Facebook group. So like it's does anyone viewing this page still eat sloppy joes? And it's a big picture of a sloppy joe.
That's yeah. That's yep.
Do you still eat sloppy joes, Bobby and Ryan?
Yeah,
I
I
had
do.
one. I guess it's not something I
Can't remember the
make.
last time I had a sloppy joe.
I
It
do
must have been a
occasionally.
decade ago.
I looked
we
up my
still
own
live in a
sloppy
place
Joe
where they
recipe one time.
happen.
There's a lot of like mistexting. Can't talk now. Call me later. Hope to me be a part in this one more. So,
Are we
lot
gonna
of, like,
are we gonna
technology
just
fails.
for the whole segment just scroll through this? Because I'm okay with that.
well, okay, I'm almost done. I just wanted to. I feel like we haven't really hit gold yet. I just want
okay,
to.
okay.
I want to find one. Hold on. That's like. Oh yeah, there's a lot of the oopses. I little baby hoops. That's somebody made a typo. Hold on. Some of these are. Oh, look at that. A Minionator Mini Cooper.
Do old people like Minions a lot?
Yes,
Yeah.
both
know
as
why,
a
but
meme and not.
All right. This one's a good one. This is a good one.
Okay.
I don't care if it's 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., or 4 a.m. Do not email my husband between 9 p.m. and 8 a.m. since it makes his phone go off, and we do not know how to turn off this feature. and there's a angry minion. So like, I don't know. There's just something adorable about like people. They think, I don't know if they think like everyone that they know will read this if it's on Facebook. You know, that it's like this is how they chose to address this problem.
That's
It's just funny. So anyway,
I looked
people,
up
I'm sure,
the
will.
meme, and it's not super popular, but it's popular enough.
The please show to Jim meme.
Yeah. Oh no, thinking about those beans.
Oh, yeah. Diana is posting inappropriate stuff, including curse words. It's on a baking. It's on a baking Facebook page. Admins. Diana is posting inappropriate stuff, including curse words. So
these are the funnier examples from sites like Nextdoor, where it's a lot of people complaining about the stupidest, most inane stuff. I don't know if you know what Nextdoor is, but
I don't. But maybe it's related to. Do you remember like before Facebook, they had these like, and even in the early days of Facebook, they had these like meme websites where they would all have one category, and one of them was like passiveaggressivenotes.com. And they just collected like passive aggressive notes that people wrote. It was really funny.
I do kind of remember that kind of thing. Yeah, the pre-cheeseburger,
It was just before cheeseburger. Yeah. But cheeseburger was basically a more advanced version of that.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of,
yeah, it was just like somebody cataloged all these passive aggressive notes found all over the world.
EJ was the king of passive aggressive notes when we were in college.
Yeah,
that was.
I know how to write a. I'm a master of the passive aggressive note.
Yeah, you'd walk into the kitchen and you knew you were in trouble when there were like 3 Post-its on the refrigerator, all full of text.
Well, y'all had to get your shit together. I had to get you to get your shit together. How else was I going to do it? I couldn't confront you directly.
Yeah,
that would be confrontational.
True.
That could go bad.
Yeah, and I was scared of you. So anyway, I know people are probably going to think we're being like ageist here, but I wanted to bring this up: the fact that we are all getting older.
Mm-hmm.
All 3 of us, right?
And
so we are the gems of the next generation.
Yeah, I don't think we're.
And I want to know, like, where have you found? I have a few examples, but I wanted to ask you first. Like, have you found places where you're starting to feel like an old person stumbling around on the internet yet, or stumbling around with technology or anything like that?
Not stumbling around on the internet, but I do have situations where I do feel like an old person. For example, Stephanie's sister. So my sister-in-law and her husband are in their mid to late 20s, and they come over all the time. And we play board games and stuff. Like, we hang out a lot. But I'm constantly reminded of like the gap between me and my mid to late 30s and them in their mid to like the 10-year difference there. And I seriously, in a non-ironic way, very legitimately catch myself saying to myself, like, like like I catch myself saying things like, oh man, there's like, I don't know, nothing in particular, but constantly thinking like these kids. Like one time I thought to myself, and I'm, we are millennials, but one time I thought like, oh, these, young millennial lazy people.
Wow, that's a good one.
Actually, okay, this is a total tangent, but I've always been vexed by being called a millennial because I feel like I personally identify more with Gen X because I grew up like watching Beavis and Butthead and Real World and stuff like that, So I know I'm like a baby Gen Xer or an elder millennial, right?
Right. We're elder millennials, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, something like that. But there was I think it was a New York Times or something. Somebody did a article about the generation that like spent their early childhood like up until around 10, 11, 12 without the internet and then suddenly got the internet for the first time, which is our generation, right?
Yeah.
So we really are right on that cutting edge. And the article referred to us as the Spice Girls generation.
Oh, I like it.
Which is perfect.
Yeah.
So I think we're all just Spice Girls.
That's what millennial always did. Like that's what millennial means. Like not just that we're in the year 2000, but also like all the technology around it.
Well, I guess the way I feel like my brother is like 8 years younger than me, and I know he's like a true millennial because he always had the internet from the time he was born.
Yeah.
See, but I think
I can remember
having
like
it and getting it is part of being a millennial because Gen X didn't have it at all.
There's no way to like concretely. There's no like arbitrator that defines exactly what a generation is. So we all have to make
No,
our
not at
own
all.
gut checks for how we define the internet. But I do feel like we're, if nothing else, we're like, if we are millennials, we are the first generation millennial.
Yeah.
And if we're Gen X,
that's-
we're the last generation of Gen X. You know what I mean? We're like
the
right on.
we're
we
the
are on
OG
curve.
millennials. Yeah.
That's how
Right.
it goes
If we-
usually when I see, like 19.
But I don't feel like I identify with like my people my brother's age. Also,
You
the
do
other thing, there's like
more-
stuff.
like cell phones and all that kind of stuff. Like everyone has them now, but we did that at the same age as the younger people did. Like, does that make sense?
that doesn't seem cultural to me though. Just the fact that I know how to use a cell
it's
phone.
massive though, because it became something everyone has now.
But we
at
didn't have
all
smartphones
times.
till after we graduated from college. Most of us. So I don't.
yeah, like
We had like
that's-
cell phones, but they were like
and that's
flippy.
going into like the next stuff. Yeah,
Yeah. So anyway,
way I
that was
always
totally
feel
a tangent. But Ryan. Well, oh yeah. So okay. Speaking of old people, do you ever feel old anymore, Ryan, on the internet? Bobby answered, but it wasn't really about the internet.
No, I was
no, but
trying to
So you don't
buy
think
it.
you're ever a Jim, Bob? Okay. Or
No,
Ryan?
well, since we're talking about the
Um,
internet, I guess I'll let Ryan answer. I've got an answer now, but
I don't really like. I do feel old out of my from my own making because I still post on forums, which is a dying creed. But I also am active in discords and stuff like that, so I don't really feel like.
Well, you've always been on the cutting edge. You've always been like a cool hunter in my mind. Like you always are one step ahead of the curve.
yeah.
I
So
don't
it's going
know.
to take you
I'm just-
longer to Jimify, I think.
Whereas I do feel like I'm always every time I see a meme pop up that everybody seems to already fully understand, I'm always looking it up like an encyclopedia,
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
I'm doing my
yeah.
research. What is this meme thing that people are
Right.
laughing about? Like I'm doing that all the time.
Yeah.
So
me
that I
too.
can then post about it and act like I know what I'm talking about.
You're
you
young.
know?
Right.
Mhm.
So there are probably young people who literally stop using memes once they see you use it.
Yes. Yeah, I have probably killed a meme or two.
We're like the canaries in the coal mine.
Yeah.
I mean,
We're
we're
doing our
some
job.
of the next generation memes do throw me off, but not like in a feel old way. It's just like, what are you fucking doing? Which eventually, I guess, will turn into like a feel old kind of way. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have those same experiences with like being a step behind on a lot of the youth culture stuff. But like, I think that when I feel the most like a Jim is with some of the newer platforms that have been coming out and some of the newer. So, for instance, I've always all my life I've been like kind of a computer nerd, and like I've always been really good at figuring out how to use computer programs and you know like just jump in and figure stuff out really quickly.
Yeah.
But the last few like there's some stuff that I'm just having a hard time comprehending, and it's like I have to have young people show me how to use them. So the first time I ever felt this way was whenever Snapchat came out,
Yeah.
and a lot of people who were like, I was probably like 31 or 32 whenever I became aware of Snapchat, and I like everyone was like, yeah, I get Snapchat. Snapchat's so cool. So then I downloaded it, and I just could not comprehend what the fuck was going on. Like I could not understand the app.
Like at all.
It was like, yeah, I felt bewildered. There was this thing with QR codes, and I knew what QR codes were and like how they worked, but I was like, why are there QR codes here? How do I add friends? I couldn't find any friends. So I literally had to get like a 25-year-old to like walk me through the app. And then once I figured it out
they
and got a
immediately
grasp
took a
on it.
picture of your QR code and like, here you go, you got a friend now.
Yeah, exactly. They showed me that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But then I was just like, as soon as I understood it and had comprehended it, I was like, this is like kiddie bullshit. I'm not into this. So I just uninstalled it.
Yeah, I just
get
feel
it.
like I'll try to learn something like I remember Snapchat. I don't use it now because it just felt like work to me because it was
Yeah.
really hard.
Yeah.
Twitter, I kind of felt like that with because I was a little bit behind the curve on that, but that I shouldn't have been.
Right. We were definitely old, or we were like in our 20s whenever Twitter came out. We should have
Yeah, I
jumped
should.
on it.
I'm very active on Twitter still, yeah.
Yeah, well, I am now. But it took me a long time to get there. There were a couple of false starts, and I was just like, meh,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
My
I
first
don't
tweet
like this.
was in Ice Station Awesome, I think, our old house after
wow.
college, and I think it
Wow,
was
you were
about
way ahead of
pooping.
the
That is
Or
on.
maybe it was about
You should
someone
dig that
pooping
up for
so
the next
loud from the
episode.
next room that I could hear them.
I want to see that tweet.
I
I want to see that tweet receipt.
I want to see that tweet.
And then the other thing is like Twitch, because I'm just now learning how to use Twitch because I'm about to start a new Twitch show. Everyone, if you want to watch that, the pilot will be Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, and then after that, it'll be Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, probably.
Low key announcement mid show.
At twitch.tv/noncompete. But I'll tell you one thing, I could not. I've been trying to learn Twitch for like about 3 or 4 months now, and it's just so hard for me to wrap my head around it.
It's
I think we talked about this.
easier-
Maybe we talked
Yeah,
about
we
this like
talked
in our
about this.
pre-show meeting or something. It's just like nothing about it seems intuitive to
Intuitive?
me. Nothing about it seems intuitive to me.
It's
Like the
easier
fact
to
that you
learn
have a
it from the
channel-
viewer's side. Once you know what's going on the viewer's side, it's a lot easier to realize what's going on from the broadcast.
I don't even understand it from the viewer's side because I just wanted to go on. I thought like the first thing I should do is watch some Twitch shows and see how they do things.
Yeah.
And so I was like trying to discover shows that I might be interested in, like the
Mhm.
same way I would on YouTube, just searching around and looking at things. And it was just like I couldn't find stuff that would interest me. It was just
still mostly video game for one, so that kind of hurts. I
Yeah.
imagine.
I mean, I like video games, but the other thing is like, okay, here's another thing where I feel like an old person because I'm like, how do these young kids stream for like 12 hours? I'm exhausted after we do this 1 hour stream.
Yeah.
If
Oh,
they're
how much stamina
affiliated,
do
they're
you have to
making
have?
money and they're getting like bits and they're getting donations and stuff like that.
I know, but I mean, like I get super chats on my main channel and like, I'm not going to sit in that chair for 12 hours. Are you freaking kidding me? They like sit there, they'll eat their lunch. They're there all day.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm very asocial, so maybe this has less to do with age and more to do with like personality type or something. But like,
I think it's both.
I get burnt out. Like, there's a part of my brain when I'm socializing, it burns out.
Like the major Twitch guys that are like our age, like Co Carnage and like King Gothleon, like they get big numbers, but they also never do that unless they're doing like a special event.
Right.
So in a special event, they'll do like 12 hours, but if we get this many donations, a stupid high number will add an hour, and then people do that
Right,
just to mess with them.
Hmm.
So like I understand that, yeah. Like I wouldn't do that. And also there's the whole live stream Twitch area where like people are just living their lives and being fucking weirdos.
Oh yeah.
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 Yeah. That's weird too. I don't think that's me being old. I think young people probably think that's weird too.
I don't know if they get a lot of views. I think this is a subculture thing.
Yeah, that's true.
But no, I
I
don't.
don't know.
I can't think of a very good example of feeling old on the internet. The opposite, where like I got rid of Facebook on my phone because I'm sick of arguing with olds. That kind of thing happened.
Yeah. I haven't used Facebook in over a year now, and I want to congratulate myself for that because I was deep in the throes of Facebook addiction for over a decade. So there is hope.
So, hold on. So I found Ryan's first tweet.
Is it that one?
And,
Finally.
Or did I misremember?
No, it was about poop. You're right.
Nice.
It was
What's the date? What's the
July
date?
15th, 2008. Ryan said,
Wow.
water shut off,
Oh.
but I had to poop, so I used a bunch of water bottles to fill the well. Victory was mine.
See, how many likes does it have?
It doesn't
Zero?
have any. No.
Oh,
I don't think, I don't
somebody
know.
go
Could
get
you even
Ryan.
like? I don't think you could like tweets back then.
No, I
Somebody
don't
needs
know
to go-
actually.
Because that
to
was
go
back
pick
when
up
you. That was back when it was all in text. Unless you were doing it online, I guess you could do it on the web. But
Ryan, that means you've been on Twitter for 11 years.
yeah.
I mean,
Wow.
yeah, I've been on
That's
a lot of
hard to
social media that long though. Like,
Wow.
I mean, yeah, we've been on Facebook for like 15 years now, but that's just really weird.
This
As we
was
slowly march
your
towards
first
death.
5 tweets were about this.
It's a tweet storm.
about the
Ryan might have
power
had the
being
first
out,
tweet storm.
not about the poop.
No, hold on. Like this was a many days thing that you went through. So that was July 15th. July 16th. Still no water. A travesty. July 17th. I'm honestly going to kill someone if I don't have my water turned back on by the end of today. Later the same day. At
Nowadays, I would say that same tweet, but I would have a frowny face after the end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Later that same day, at B word Mueller. It's really odd. I heard about it about an hour. Oh, that's something else.
It's
Never
not
mind.
Trumpian. Don't be mean like that,
Yeah.
Cadme.
Yeah, Academy says that it sounds like Trump tweets. I don't know. If Trump was like really down on his luck and he got his water turned off.
Trump had his water turned off.
Someone
Come
was
on.
working on our water. All they did though was shut off the power and then leave. Frowny face.
Just imagine if Ryan
I did a
was
frowny
talking
face.
about
Yes.
the Democratic Party instead of the water company. It's the same cadence, I think, as a Trump tweet.
Yeah.
Sad.
July 18th.
Does he say sad at the end of it?
Yeah.
You can tell it was text because it's like truncated. Yeah.
Yeah. July 18th. The city of
wasn't,
Columbia
like,
seems to have
writing.
it out for me.
Jesus, Ryan. This is
Wow.
so sad.
Yeah.
Oh,
July
wanna go back to-
21st. It's sorta kinda dumb. Also, still don't have water. Wow.
this is like a whole epic of your life.
July 22nd. 1 week later.
I don't know if I like this.
All caps, we have water again. I'm dancing around like a pretty princess who has just received her first tiara. And the saga is over. Wow.
Wow.
Woo.
2008.
That was
11 years ago.
That
Those
was
are the gravy days.
Ryan's
Jeez.
introduction to Twitter. So speaking of Ryan,
Everybody, do the robot.
I mean, all I could think about was like the '90s boxer Butterbean. I don't know if you guys have seen him.
We're
He
going out
doesn't
on
listen.
top.
I said this at the top of the show. Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
I don't
it's
know.
Just,
who that is?
you don't remember him? Like my dad was into boxing. I think maybe yours too, EJ. But
Who
like
doesn't remember Butterbean?
I
He's
just
just
told
his-
you I don't.
big round boy.
Besides Bobby.
Like I don't even know what to say. Like he's just this big dude that like had like a round head that was so thick that there was no neck in there.
Yeah,
I think I know him because he was a character in some like SNES game or something.
maybe.
He was maybe in like a remake of Mike Tyson or something. Yeah. But
Yeah,
like it's
That's
just
how I think I
he's
know
just-
about him.
he's just this big dude that like I don't know why it's all I could think about, even though like beans are like a major thing and a staple of my diet even, but here we are.
You
Talking
you have
about-
any other commentary on Butterbean, or you just wanted to remind us? that he
No,
exists?
because I really also was just planning to talk about this and see if you guys remembered, and you don't. I think maybe he was in
No, I
Claymation.
told you I remember him.
He looks
Do
kind
you
of like
remember-
Kingpin, like Wilson Fisk.
Yo, that's 100%.
He's still alive, by the way. I think
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he's
apparently
years old.
does. He
he's
was
from
on
Atlanta, Georgia.
chairman of the board. I don't know if you remember that movie with like Carrot Top. It's okay if you don't, because I don't think I
I
ever saw
don't
it.
remember that. I remember the.
But I think he was in MTV's Claymation stuff. I don't know if you remember those things. They tried to reboot
oh yeah,
it.
yeah. Celebrity
It was,
Deathmatch. Or...
Celebrity Deathmatch. I think he
Yeah.
was in that stuff too. But it's just, I don't know why. It's just like the only thing I could think of this topic was just like, what?
Yeah,
His real name is
He was
Eric
like-
Esch.
Eric Esch.
He was in a show called Big Law, Deputy Butterbean.
He was
Esch is a
deputy?
reserve deputy sheriff in his hometown of Jasper, Alabama, and starred in the reality television documentary entitled Big Law, Deputy Butterbean. So he really was a reserve deputy sheriff, which debuted on the Investigation Discovery Channel in August 2011. He
That's
described the
Butterbean right
genesis of the
there.
show. I don't know if this is going to go anywhere, but I'm going to read this.
It's not.
They came to me wanting to. I'm gonna read it like a Georgia boy.
Yeah.
They came to me wanting to do a reality documentary on my restaurant, and I was in the process of closing my restaurant down. I said, "Well, if you wanted something interesting and fun to watch, follow us on our drug busts in the sheriff's department." They agreed people would be interested in this. They started following us, filming us, and documenting us actually making the busts. You arrest somebody and say, "Look, if you don't want to go to jail, you got to help us bust a bigger guy." We make a bigger bust from that. The whole goal is to get people on file and lessen the number of criminals on the street. So he's a total fascist cop.
I mean, yeah,
Look
he
at
was
him.
a wrestler. He reminds me of a Doctor Who villain where there are these aliens that are kind of like squat and round and have bullet-shaped heads.
Oh yeah, but those guys are probably way more funny than this guy is.
Well, they're
Yeah, that
all
guy's
about
just like-
fighting. Like their whole life is fighting, and it's kind of the
If you
same
don't
idea.
want to do the time, then don't do the crime. crime don't pay, son. I'm sure he says stuff like that in the show.
Yeah.
Probably. But yeah, this is kind of just a tail end because I did want to talk about the viewer email because we don't ever do that.
Oh,
Yeah, let's do that.
All right.
Let's go right on to it.
hey, Cab.
And now for something
Suntarian,
completely different.
including
Suntarians,
Butterbean.
Suntarians. You have to say that.
Suntarians, yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Otherwise, you
that.
think they're talking about horse people.
Yeah. All right, so we got an email. We haven't done an email in a long time. Here's an email. Guys, if you want to email us, you can email us at jbycshow@gmail.com. You can literally send us an email about anything, and we'll probably read it because we love
Even a
reading emails.
dog.
Yeah.
Well, usually we overrun though, so we're gonna
Yeah.
read it this time.
If we start getting lots of emails, we might make it make more of an effort to make sure that they're in
Is that
the show.
Is that the carrot?
Yeah, exactly. Chances are you're going to get read on the show. But dear JBYC panel, what's the best practical joke you've ever played on someone and the worst practical joke played on you? Sincerely, Chinese in Chicago. I don't understand what that means, but that's what they said.
All right.
I don't think I've had a good one. Can I include Ryan's busy day as a practical joke on me?
You're talking
you
about
know
the
what was
short
going on
film
with
that
it?
I made?
Yeah.
Why would...
Well, wait. Ryan's Great Adventure was the film that we
There's
without-
two of them.
Ryan's Busy Day was
I'm
Luke's,
thinking.
Luke's.
I'm thinking of
Oh,
Great
right.
Adventure.
Ryan's Great Adventure was sort of a sequel that I made to Ryan's Busy Day.
Yeah, Great Adventure was fine. I think Busy Day might have been half practical joke.
I think it kind of was. Wasn't
we should
that
publish
AJ?
those.
Ryan's Busy
What?
Day.
Ryan's Great Adventure?
No, Ryan's Busy Day.
was.
So-
No, Ryan knew what was going on. Ryan knew what was going on because he was the main character. He was the only actor in
I
the
mean,
original.
yes, but being willing to do it and it being a practical joke doesn't necessarily. They're not necessarily mutually exclusive.
Were you led
Well,
on
did
to
you
believe that it was
expect it to
something
look
else?
differently? Like,
No, but it also, like in retrospect, is kind of like oh yeah, this guy's kind of sad and just doing a thing, which is fine. I was down with it, but I don't know
Right.
where the nest egg came out of. The nest egg.
Right,
The
so
that's
idea
that we
came out.
pioneered the short-lived film genre of Ryan's exploitation.
And that's what I was getting at. It was Ryan's exploitation.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, Ryan's Busy Day was predictably about Ryan having not much going on in his day.
Yeah, and I ate cereal out of a coffee cup, and I went out and
Check
got
the mail.
checked them out, and then kind of
Well, no
sat
spoilers.
down.
We don't have to tell them the rest of the.
Yeah.
Well,
don't
I
have
don't
to
think
tell
that
them it is.
one's online. The rest of them are.
I got it somewhere. We'll get it published. Don't worry.
Ryan's Great Adventure, which was the sequel that I made, was much more exciting. It was an adventure, a great adventure.
We went to like the sand dunes.
Yes.
Well, it was an empty lot.
next to
Yeah.
a gas station.
Yep.
I drive by that
Anyway.
gas station all the time. But
I
yeah.
don't think that counts as a practical joke.
I think it's pretty close because it was kind of like this picking on / not picking on thing.
So what is?
Sorta.
But what is the best practical joke that you have ever played on somebody? Because that was
When we kidnapped Tom, were you involved with that?
yes.
I think that's the only one I'm thinking of too.
Yeah, our friend Tom. We wanted to play Shadowrun with him. I think. A tabletop RPG. And he wasn't allowed to come and stay the night. So we drove over to his house and like asked him to come outside or something because we said we had to give him something, and we literally grabbed him and taped him up and threw him in the trunk.
Yeah, we threw him in the trunk of the car, and he played Shadowrun with us all night.
Yeah. So
Was there another time when we did the same thing that
It
we
could-
taped into a chair and didn't play Shadowrun?
I do
We
think
taped
that
a lot of
we've
people to a lot of things.
Yeah. Oh no, you're also thinking. Who was
The
it?
flagpole thing.
Who was it that we taped? Well, we used to have a tradition in our speech and debate tournaments where we would, whenever
I
there was
forgot about that.
whenever there was a new person on the team, it was sort of like a rite of passage, sort of like we accept you. We would duct tape them to a flagpole and leave them
Yeah.
there for a while. I think one person missed an event because of it, like they were supposed
And
to.
it was
Person
kinda like
got
this-
ants all over them because of it.
Yeah. But see, the thing was, like, they it started out as
Well,
this
hold
thing
on,
no
hold on.
care there at all. There was
happened
no
to be-
concern.
there happened to be an anthill next to the flagpole. We didn't know that ahead of time.
Yeah, it wasn't intentional. Are we canceled now? I
These
don't know.
are
But
always
you have to
also
understand,
at like
this was
rival
like
schools.
like the we would be like everyone would be like begging us to be the next person to get duct taped to a flagpole. It was like we kind of got tired of it, honestly. You remember
Yes.
that? And then
Eventually,
the
they
young
did
people were
want
just
to.
like,
Not
Well,
really.
it started with us just trying to do it to each
it
other.
started with like our little inner circle of friends, and it was
and
like
we were just trying to get each other, like, be like,
Mhm.
yeah,
you know, we'd get you, and then who was going to be next, like,
yeah.
and you had to be scared about it, and
And then
Yeah.
like the freshmen were like, I want to be duct taped to a flagpole too.
And once
So
you
we're
like it,
all
no
right.
one would nope.
yeah.
So anyway, that was a thing. We were young. It was a different time. Okay. Also, no, I'm trying to think. I mean, there's
I don't know
I
what-
can think of one.
Yeah.
I can think of one practical joke that Bobby played on me.
Oh gosh, here we go. I know
Ooh,
exactly.
I have one also
I know exactly what you're
afterwards.
talking about, and this is the story that I always,
I have a good one that
I
I did
always
to Aaron.
dread every time someone learns about it.
So
Let me
when I
preface this,
first met
since I
Bobby-
know what this is. Let me preface this with, I was a young, terrible person.
Well, it was 1995, and we were like 10 years old, 11 years old.
Okay,
So I don't think anybody could cancel you over this, but it did seriously happen, and I did seriously fall for it. So in 1995, I just met Bobby for the first time.
Yeah.
We were in the 5th grade in the same homeroom, and we were like hanging out or something because I knew that Bobby like wanted to be an astronaut, and he's like, no, because this is kind of funny. The first thing I ever heard Bobby say ever,
Yeah.
we were all going around the room and talking about what we wanted to be when we grow up, and Bobby was like, well, I want to be an astronaut, but I can't because I'm blind in my right eye. And then he sat down. That's the first thing I ever heard Bobby
end.
say.
I have no more aspirations. Yeah.
So that was.
I shot
So then,
for
like,
the
I think-
stars and
And I knew at the moment I was like, I'm gonna be friends with this guy. So I think it might have been that day or the next day or something. But we were hanging the first time we were hanging out, and like I don't remember how it came up in the conversation, but Bobby told us all that he had cancer or AIDS or something, and
it
that
was AIDS.
he was
yeah.
gonna die. What was it?
It was AIDS.
Do you remember that disease? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So you said you had AIDS and that you were going to die in like 5 years. And I was like, holy shit, that's so terrible. Like, wow.
Yeah.
You know, it was like it was the first time I ever met somebody who told me that they were dying. And I couldn't believe it. I have a follow-up story to this, by the way. I have a follow-up. This isn't the only time Bobby's gotten me like this. So years later, in like the 8th or 9th grade,
Yeah.
you know, we were hanging out with a bunch of guys, and one of them made some like AIDS joke, you know, like because shitty young men always make shitty AIDS jokes. And I was like, dude, that's not funny. Bobby has AIDS. He's dying from AIDS. And Bobby was like, what are you talking about? I don't have AIDS. And he forgot that he told me that. But he said it was like a joke, but it was like he never laughed and never indicated
Well,
he was joking.
so
And
to
then
be-
for like 3 years.
I don't know. This is a.
He actually left. Like you left the state and you went to like Michigan.
I moved away for a year to
and
Minnesota.
I was thinking it might be the last time I ever saw you again because I thought you were gonna die.
right.
And then
So
he came back
I don't
and-
know if this is a defense of myself or not, but I did
Probably
have.
not when you say that.
I did have a habit of like when I was younger, middle school to high school, that kind of age range. I had an extremely like very stone cold, dry sense of humor, and I would say things and just let it hang and that were not true with the intention. And this happened a lot. Like later, I would say, "Ha, just kidding. That was not true."
But he never said how. And of course, it's kind of the
but there were-
awkward thing you're not gonna like bring up again.
Right, but there were things.
I-
There were some times when something would happen, conversation would shift, and I would forget to follow up and say, "By the way, that thing was a joke," and this was
Also,
one
remember
of them.
that kind of sense of humor is very rare in 11-year-old boys. So I had no reason to know that you were joking.
Right.
So that's
the
the
Mitch
one time. Okay,
Hedberg school. Yeah.
this might have been worse though. Was one time we
Well,
were.
hold on.
Yeah.
Like, is it connected to that? Because I'm going to share one of mine about you first, and then we can switch back.
Okay. All right. Mine's slightly connected, but go ahead. Give me my payback.
So, it's not like that. It's more
God, I
about
hope it's
me
not too
being
bad.
dumb than you being dumb. You'll know pretty quickly what I'm talking about. we found
Okay.
a broken mirror in our apartment. Oh, we didn't find it. Like the framing was broken. And I was like carrying it,
yeah.
and it got close to my face. I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." Like it's kind of like coming right at you. Like it's a big like hallway mirror, like the long rectangular one.
It's a full body.
It's the kind you would hang up in your closet so you can see
Yeah.
your whole outfit.
Yeah.
Like a foot by like
Those
a meter
cheap
or
ones
whatever.
you get from Walmart, whatever.
So
Yeah.
I'm walking to like the front door. I was gonna put it next to the front door, and I'm like, huh. So I walk into the living room where Bobby was sitting, and I turn it around and I kind of swing it at him, kind of like this. I'm just kind of moving it back and forth towards his face,
Yeah,
and
you're
he's
like,
like,
"Whoa,
no,
that's crazy! It's like
I don't like that.
Yeah, it's my face is coming at me. That's weird. Freaking me out."
So I really like that. So I turn around and I go to
Reinforcement.
I'm gonna
Aaron
do
and-
this to someone else.
yes, exactly. So I go out to Aaron's room. He was at his computer, and it was right next to the door. So I just come right around the door with the mirror already facing him and start going like really quickly at him, holding it like
I was
moving
sitting in a
back and
chair. I
forth.
remember that. I think
You're
I was
keeping
You're
my-
sitting in
my
your chair at your computer. Yeah.
Ryan's
Yeah.
already noticed this effect on himself. He's demonstrated it to me and gotten great enjoyment and excitement out of the fact that I was freaking out about it. So
Yeah.
he's like excited. Ryan's like, "Yes, let's do this some
Oh,
more."
and also I figure like you guys will hear him. You'll probably be excited also. So
But
Yeah.
I build this up to he's into it. He's like really
Yeah,
showing
yeah.
him the
I'm
mirror.
Really, he's like ramping it up.
I'm moving a mirror without a frame that's big, probably a little bit too much, because as Aaron's freaking out and I'm kind of laughing at his terror, the mirror breaks in half and shatters
It
in
just
between
shatters.
us.
And from my memory, we both just stared at each other and
We
screamed.
went dead silent.
Well, from my
is
perspective,
that
I'm playing like I don't know, like Ninja Gaiden on the Xbox in the living room of where we were living, and that's
You
what
hear
I hear, like
terror and
yeah,
elation.
oh man,
Yeah.
reenactment of what just happened to me, and I'm
Oh,
thinking
yeah,
in my
it's
head, this
even
is going to
worse.
be good.
Yeah.
And then from
Yeah,
my
yeah.
We were
perspective, it's
screaming.
the other room. From my perspective, I hear shattering silence for
And it's
Dead silence.
dead silence, and then suddenly like blood curdling screams, like. I'm like, oh my god!
I don't remember the blood curdling screams afterwards,
Well,
but
it could be that you were laughing, but I heard shattering and then loud noises, so I might have been.
Nobody got hurt, right? It was just
No one got
it was
hurt.
Just as terrifying, but it was.
Yeah.
But
no
when I
pain.
ran in there, I saw you guys both standing there. Ryan with half of a shattered,
Half a mirror.
jagged mirror in his hands, and Aaron at his computer. His glass shattered all over the place, all around him.
And we were just like breathing. What the? So
Yeah.
that was pretty good. I remember that. That was a good time. Good times.
that was
That's
pretty
the
good.
kind of stuff we just doesn't happen anymore. You know, once you get in your 30s, you don't have that kind of fun anymore.
Oh, because you don't live with a bunch of idiot dudes.
I kind of miss it sometimes.
Well, get you some dumb
So-
roommates.
Last story, just from Bobby, another practical joke Bobby played on me. We were at Wendy's, probably around 7th grade or something.
I don't remember this.
I can actually verify this.
Way back in 1997.
So I think it was like 1997, 96. Yeah. So it must have been like 97, 98. Yeah. So we were at Wendy's and there was a big picture of Dave Thomas. And I had seen like, I don't know, a documentary about Dave Thomas or something. And I was like, oh, it's Dave Thomas. I love Dave Thomas. And Bobby was like, oh, you know, he died, right? And I was
remember
like,
this.
really? And I was like, that's so sad. And it kind of affected me a little bit. I don't remember why I was so obsessed with Dave Thomas, but it was like sad. And so then for the next 5 years, I thought Dave Thomas was dead. And then when he actually died on January 8th, 2002, I was like, why is everybody talking about Dave Thomas' death? He died like 5 years ago. And then I realized that Bobby did it again.
Once,
And I
again,
was
once
like,
again, it probably was like one of those things. I was like trying to get him to believe something, and I was gonna, gotcha, you believed me, but then I got distracted by like my chicken nugget meal or something.
But
Or
it's
maybe-
such a weird feeling when everyone's talking about somebody who's died, and it's like you think they died 5 years ago. You're like,
Yeah, it's
why
like,
is,
such a
is it the
mixed-
anniversary of his death? Why are they talking about
such a
this?
mixed emotion. You realize that he really didn't. He was alive all that time, but now
You stole 5 years of Dave Thomas's life from me, Bob.
Yeah.
You
Bobby's
monster.
like the progenitor, like the starter of like the Berenstein Bear kind of idea. Where it's like
yeah,
he, with his
Probably.
butterfly effect, changed the universe right then.
He's
what do
been
they call it? The
butterfly
Mandela
affecting
effect?
everyone.
Mandela
Those are
effect,
just
yeah.
a few times that Bobby has ruined my life.
I am a bad person. All right, and
disagreement there
that
from either of
music, that music tells you that it's time for the end of the show, guys. If you want, that was all from an email that we got. If you want us to talk about things that you want us to talk about, you can email us.
Besides beans.
Yeah, jbycshow@gmail.com. So as you know, this week's theme was beans, and if you want to vote on the show's future themes, what they're going to be, then you got to head on over to our Discord server where we'll have the poll up. Also, we have that on Twitter @JBYC Show. Next week's theme has already been decided by the community, and it's going to be, I have confidence this is going to be better, because it's dinosaurs.
Whoa!
So next week's theme is going to be dinosaurs. Send us your news, stories, topics, prompts, anything you want us to talk about having to do with dinosaurs. We have a channel on our Discord where you can drop those things in there for us to talk about. And did you know that we aren't the ones who decide the topics to be voted on? Who decides, EJ?
You decide.
That's right. Our after party chat picks all the
That was a
items
weak
that
one.
go on this poll that you vote on, and everyone votes on the themes after that. So if you want to get something on the poll, come hang out. Cadme wants things on the poll all the time, like polls and beans. Beans, in fact, was a Cadme edition. So if you want yours on there, then you better do it. You can find our email and Twitter at jbyc.net. Watch us live on YouTube at youtube.com/JBYC Show every Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, or listen to the podcast wherever you get podcasts. From me, from EJ, from Ryan, thank you guys for listening. We're about to start the after party for our live listeners. That's
the after party sound effect from now on.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I love it. I'm in love. All right. We'll see you guys.
Yeah.
Bye.
Sound effect I don't have to make. Okay, I love it.